person who doesn't want what's best for the sorority, is behaving poorly, and it's representing poorly on Theta Phi, and they only run into a handful of people, that's what they think the entire chapter, that's who they think the entire chapter is. So that's where I'm kind of going to let you in on a little secret and tell you that formal recruitment is a process that helps all sororities on campus get new members, and it helps everybody, or most people who are interested in being in a sorority, into a sorority, but that's not when the most recruitment takes place. Recruitment takes place every second of every minute of every day once you join. It doesn't matter if you're at home, it doesn't matter if you're in your residence hall, it doesn't matter if you're in the THBs, it doesn't matter if you're at, what is it now, Brady's, Mike's, whatever. It doesn't matter if you're at IHOP, it doesn't matter if you're in Brookside. Once you join Theta Phi, you are now 100% of the time recruiting, whether you intend to do it or not. And so that's why I want to really hone in on these, because those are awesome qualities that we want people to do. But if we aren't living those values, if we aren't showing that through our actions, because what recruitment really is opening up a little window into what sorority life is and saying, you want to peek? It's kind of like you walk by Russell Stover's on the plaza, if they open the door and you smell that chocolate, and you're like, oh man, I'm going in. I'm getting me some of that chocolate because that smells and looks good. That's recruitment. Are we having fun as a chapter? Are we achieving goals as a chapter? Do we like each other? When you automatically do that, and this is fun. I mean, you guys, when I look out, we're having fun. One thing I wanted to, that I observed when I had you guys share that first question, the first question was, why'd you join? I don't know if you noticed it, but you guys did it quickly, immediately, and there wasn't a lot of conversation around us. When I asked you why you stayed, the level of conversation got louder and longer and higher, because it's way more exciting to stay and be in a sorority and achieve the goals and share the challenges together than it is to just join. So if you wanted me to come in here and tell you how to have the best song and dance and how to lead people into the chapter room and how to make formal recruitment the best, I am not your gal, because I'm actually not a fan of the process. Now, I understand that it's the process we have that works and we have to do it, and so I'll be here and I'll help and we have a good time. But recruitment is really everything you're doing once you join. And so that's why you want to make sure, if you want leaders in your sorority, then be leaders. If you want people who are involved on campus, stay involved on campus. If you want people who are passionate about the sorority, be passionate about the sorority. In some sales wisdom, like I said, I'm going to impart on you. Part of my biography, because I'm 47 years old and I didn't want to go into like my whole resume with you, but when I first finished traveling for the sorority, I took a job as director of marketing and customer relations for basically a general contractor who restored homes after fire, water, and smoke damage. So I would call on insurance agents. And all I did was build relationship with insurance agents. I would go take them a business card and say, hey, you know, if God forbid, if any of your insureds have a fire in their home, please call my company. We will come and we will help mitigate the damage. I didn't know what the word mitigate meant when I started working for this company. I didn't know what a general contractor was. I didn't know how to sheetrock. I didn't know what they did after fire, water, and smoke damage to restore it. I learned throughout the process, but when I first started making calls, I didn't know, but I knew how to connect with people. I knew that when I walked into an insurance agent's office and he had KU stuff, football stuff, and you know, all kinds of stuff, I knew I better start talking about KU. Or say, hey, I see you like the Jayhawks, you know? Or I knew how to connect with people. And once you make a connection with people, everything else falls into place. So do y'all know how to make connections with people? Do y'all know how to do this so that people are automatically attracted to you? And are you confident about what you have to offer? Okay? So those are my challenges to you, and I'm cutting it way short, so I will have time for questions if you want to do things. But I'm going to go back up here to because I wrote down some challenges and I want to hit them with you. The one thing that I want you to work on is when I asked you, what is Theta I have to offer people, okay? Here's a point that I want to make, some sales wisdom that I'm going to impart on you. If I were to go into, and I'm sorry I move around, Maria. If I were to go, as the director of marketing and customer relations for Paul Davis Restoration was the name of the company. If I were to walk, tell me your name. Fiona. Fiona is the insurance agent that I'm calling on. And if I were to walk into her and say, hey Fiona, my name's Angie and I work for Paul Davis Restorations and we restore homes after fire, water, and smoke damage. And if your insured has a fire, call us and we're gonna come out and mitigate the damage. How excited are you to call Paul Davis Restoration? Do you even know the name of my company? No. Because what I did is I just word vomited everything that we did. Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People says, seek first to understand before you can be understood. And I did not do that. What I said was right, what it was true, and it will benefit her. But she doesn't care because she doesn't trust me, she doesn't know me. And you know those old, I think it was Maya Angelou who used to say, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Okay, here's another little piece of wisdom that I'm gonna do in a little analogy. When you guys get pictures back, or say somebody has a birthday party and they post their pictures on Facebook and you were at that party, what are you looking for in those pictures?
Yourself.
You, absolutely. Oh, was that a good side? Did I look good there? Oh my gosh, you took me from the side of my belly showing, you know, whatever the case may be. We all want to see ourselves, right? Okay? So the best way that you can connect with someone is to ask them questions and get to know them. Okay? Especially their name, without having to, you know, look at their name tag or ask them several times. So you've got to know how to make those connections with people. And when I first joined, you know, as a Mary Kay consultant for 15 years, so I obviously know what I'm doing because I've been doing it for a while and I love it. There's a lot of things about Mary Kay that are wonderful, okay? One of them, it's a great product. I get it for a discount. I make money selling it. I get prizes for doing it. You can earn a car. I mean, I can go on and on and on about the benefits of Mary Kay. But if I were to sit down with you and just talk to you about all the benefits without knowing anything about you, I have about a 1 in 4 chance of connecting with you and you getting excited about either hosting a Mary Kay party for me or being a Mary Kay consultant, right? But if I sat down and said, Fiona, my name is Angie Carr and I'm with Paul Davis Restoration. How long have you been an insurance agent? What do you love about this company? First of all, do you have a second? You should invest that first. Can I have a minute of your time? You know, and I find out, you know, Fiona's been in insurance for this long, and this is her customer base, and this is where she's from, and this is what she likes. Then I can segue how my company can help based on what I perceive her to like and be interested in, okay? So with the sorority, if I start talking to Lauren about intramurals, I know you play volleyball, right? I didn't. Did you play any sports? Okay. So if I say nothing about, you know, Greek Week dance, and all I talk about are intramural sports, and you've never played a sport in your life, are you excited about Theta Phi? No. So you've got to find out about people, okay? And the NIC did a 5-step model. NIC is the North American Interfraternity Conference. It's basically what IFC, the national organization, is. They did a study many years ago, and it hasn't changed to date. And that is, there's a 5-step model to recruitment. First one is to meet a person, right? Second is to make them your friends. Third person is to introduce them to your friends. Fourth thing is to introduce them to your organization. And the 5th thing is to ask them to join. Sounds real simple, right? You're like, yeah, that's really not market research. That's kind of obvious. But if you sometimes look at how we do recruitment, that's not how we do it. We sometimes meet them and ask them to join. Okay? We're all guilty of this, especially men. Oh. Wish they were here. You attract people to you by the confidence that you exude, the fun you have, the things that you do, okay? Then you find out about the person. Then you introduce them to Theta Phi. And then if they're worthy of your invitation to membership, then you ask them to join. Don't miss that last step, please. If they are worthy of your invitation to membership, then you ask them to join. So my challenges to you are identify your strengths, identify the qualities of the people for whom you're looking. Let me give you an example. I worked with a sorority many years ago up at Missouri Western, and we did the True Colors personality profile. Have y'all ever done something like that, or DISC, you know? We did the true colors, and so they were a chapter that had a lot of oranges, folks who scored high in orange, a lot of folks who scored high in gold, a few folks in green, and 0 who scored high in blue. 0 folks who scored high in blue. People who have qualities in blue, sorry, Marina.
Oh, no, you're fine.
People who have blue qualities are people who are kind, who are peaceful. They're the peacemakers. They love on people. They're your cheerleaders. They're cooperative, not competitive. They had 0. Okay? So literally, the next recruitment, they were looking for the people who cried easily. They were looking for the people who were soft-hearted, because they're like, we need that, and we need to appeal to them. Because if they weren't intentional about that, they weren't going to appeal to anybody who scored high in blue, because there was nobody who was scored high in blue that was represented there. So who are you looking for? Okay? Who do you need? Who, you know, and not who needs you, who do you need? Who do you need to meet the goals? Because people join because they want to be a part of something bigger. I heard it right over here. People join because they want to be a part of something bigger, and they join because they want to be a part of something. And so while our strength as Theta Phi is that we are diverse in personalities and natures, you may want to be careful about how you phrase that. Because people don't join because they want to be different. They join because they want to be a part of something bigger. So put a spin on it and say, you can be who you are, but these are our goals that we're achieving as an organization. Because, and I keep going back to Mary Kay, and I'm really not trying, don't talk to me about Mary Kay, okay, really, I'm not trying to sell you anything, I'm not trying to recruit you anything, but there's some really good skills and things that I've learned from 15 years in Mary Kay. And one of them is wrap people around your goals. They want to help you. I earned a car in Mary Kay back in 2004. And there would be customers that say, by buying this cleanser, am I putting you closer to that car? I want my consultant to drive a car. They didn't get any benefit. I don't think any of them ever rode in the car, right? But they wanted to be a part of somebody who, they wanted to be their consultant to have a car, all right? So people want to be a part of something bigger. So make sure your goals are big enough that you're stretching yourself and that they're appealing to others. Okay, I think I am past, we've still got 10 minutes, so questions? Or was there anything that you wanted me to touch on that I didn't want to that I didn't touch on?
No, I think that was good.
Questions? I want at least one. No, I don't know what the siren's for.
Well, it's not really a question, more of a comment, but
Perfect.
really, really helpful.
Oh, thanks.
I feel a lot better about it. He's like, I don't like talking to people when we're going through agreement because I'm just a mess when I talk to people, but I feel like now, definitely have to be interesting.
Stop saying you're a mess when you're talking to people. That's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I love talking to people. That's what you're gonna start saying. I love talking to people. I love talking about things.
That's what we need to do next recruitment workshop. Everyone.
So stop. You're probably not a mess when you talk to people, but
So
don't
personable.
believe me. Other comments, Betsy?
Can you talk a little bit more about what it means that we're like truly recruiting in the year?
It means that, it's a good question. I'm gonna go back to some stats here for a minute. Survey done by the NIC several years ago, 10 to 20% of the population are what we call always joiners. They're the people who walked on this campus, they knew they were gonna join a fraternity or sorority, their parents or their brothers or sisters probably joined a fraternity or sorority. They saw it on TV and they're like, that's something I'm gonna do when they go to college. Those are what we call the always joiners. There's 10 to 20% of the population that are never joiners. It doesn't matter what we do, what we say, they're just not interested, it's not their thing. No matter what we say, no matter what we do, we can pay their dues for them and they aren't gonna join, all right? So that leaves what, 40 to 60% of the population that what we call maybe joiners, okay? How many of you said you would never join a sorority? Raise your hands high. Look around. We are what we call liars, okay? Because we're maybe joiners, but we think we're never joiners. So the reason why I say this, and I'm gonna get to your question in a minute, I'm gonna probably hit the top of it, it's something that you guys may wanna talk about as a chapter too. Because the 10 to 20% of the people who are always gonna join are the people who are going through recruitment. They're the people that are going to find sorority and fraternity life, whether, if we were underground fraternities or sororities and rockers couldn't have fraternities or sororities, but you guys had them anyway, they would somehow find you. Like if you couldn't wear your letters, you didn't have letters on your stuff, you didn't have chapter rooms, they would find you because they're always gonna join. That's the people who are going through recruitment, okay? So we're just gonna open our doors and say, come on in. We don't have to work hard at that 10 to 20%. They're gonna find us and they're gonna go through the recruitment process. Some of you are probably part of that 10 to 20%. What we need to work on or be aware of is that 40 to 60% that says they're never gonna join, but are the maybe joiners. And so that's how we're recruiting every day. I'm trying to think of a good example. You know, if you've ever been, and I hate going back to significant other examples, but you know, you think about the person who you were attracted to without them working on it. You know what I mean? Like they weren't trying to be sexy to you, they just were, you know? And that's kind of what the aura that we want to present. Now there's a difference between that and making them come to us. Don't ever take on the attitude of, we're gonna be so confident that the P&Ms are gonna come to us. Because that's borderline arrogance. And that typically doesn't happen and it attracts the wrong people, okay? So recruiting every day is when you guys have a positive philanthropy event and you're interacting in a positive way and having fun with each other and there happens to be people who are at Greek around, you're recruiting. You're just not hardcore recruiting. You're just not saying, hey, come learn about Theta Phi, okay? Sitting next to, if you have class with new students or transfer students and sitting next to that student and getting to know them and maybe inviting them to your philanthropy events, that's recruiting. You're just not hardcore recruiting. And I would challenge you to keep that NIC 5-step model in mind, that it says meet them, make them your friend, introduce them to your friends, introduce them to your sorority, and then ask them to join. Just like if I were to sit here and talk to Lauren for 30 minutes about how great Mary Kay is. I love Mary Kay, these are the benefits, and this is how much money I made, and these are the bracelets that I won, blah, 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 blah. But she's never tried the product, and I asked her to be a consultant. That's putting the cart before the horse. Don't put the cart before the horse by pushing Theta Phi down somebody's throat without just genuinely being their friend and getting to know them and getting to know their interests and then introducing them to your friends, whether they be your sorority or not, and then introducing them to your sorority and then inviting them to join. It's a privilege, not a right, to be in a sorority. And so we want to be confident enough that it's appealing, because there's nothing, to me, there was nothing more appealing to a guy that I was attracted to than someone who's really confident. Not arrogant. Big difference. Learn the difference now, it'll serve you well. But I was attracted to him initially because of that, and maybe stayed in the relationship because of those qualities that he had. Did I answer your question at all? Mm-hmm. Does anyone else have any good answers for what does 365 recruiting mean? Maria?
Whether you're actually wearing them or not, we're wearing our letters all the time. And so when people have interactions with you on campus, not even if they just walk by you and you say hi, that's recruiting. If, they see you in a social setting, that's recruiting. Everything you do reflects upon our organization. Does that answer your question?
It's a lot, it's a responsibility. That's why I say it's not for the faint of heart and it's not for everybody. Other questions, comments, things you want to talk about, things you want to challenge me on that you don't agree with, I'm okay with that too. Because I have seen some of these looks like, what is she talking about? So make sure I'm not going over my time. I'm happy to do things like this if there's anything you all need.